So did they give you an idea of what we're doing here or no?
No, they just said, do I like to speak to you? And I said, I would love to speak to you. And that was kind of where it ended.
Well, that's a good start. Now, Mark Ronson, before we get into your number one, New Love with Diplo and Ellie Goulding, the most important, hard-hitting question that I have for you is, did you have to Google how to spell verklempt when you tweeted that?
Yes, I did actually, because I only know it from like some old Saturday Night Live like skits from like the 90s where Mike Myers did that character, be like, I'm verklempt.
I'm so verklempt.
Like, is it an F? Is it a V? I don't want to disrespect my Yiddish ancestry. So I Googled it.
Well, l'chaim for doing that. You know, I always thought it was verklempt. I didn't know it was verklempt.
Me too. I mean, I get in enough trouble. The amount of people that tell me that their kids mispronounce the words to Uptown Funk to say a word that little kids shouldn't say. Like, I feel like I've done enough of that.
Well, Mark Ronson, multi-Grammy Award-winning producer. Welcome to America's Dance 30.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Now, when you got done producing New Love with Ellie Goulding and Diplo, did you just sit back and go, yeah, this is going to be a number one smash?
No, definitely not. You never know what's going to be a smash or not. You just know when me and Diplo, we have so much love and like history between us, and also because we come from different places musically, it always takes this like tinkering back and forth between us until we both get it to a point where we're both like, yeah, and we can stand there with our arms crossed and listen for 3.5 minutes and be like, this is a banger. And then you add Ellie to it. So like with records like this, with Electricity, I'm always pretty confident that it's as good as we could have made it. You just never know. Then it's up to the people to decide, the DJs, you know, people listening, streaming, to whether it's going to be as a smash or not.
Now, you talk about with you and Diplo being from such diverse backgrounds, and there is a lot of back and forth. Are there a lot of disagreements on the direction a song should go while you're producing it?
Well, definitely. I mean, he's much more entrenched in dance world, so I really defer to him when he's like, yo, that snare's played out or something. I'm like, okay. Like, I have to, like, and if I came to him with some like horns or strings, he'd probably be like, all right, cool. Like, I get it. But I think that this, you know, we both come from the same. I met him like over 20 years ago. We were at this diner called Silk City in Philly, and we were just talking about records and collecting records and breaks. And I knew there was always this shared language, and we both come from DJ culture. That is our like great love. So there's differences stylistically and stuff, but I really like the way that we complement each other.
Yeah, it definitely is amazing every time you guys put out a record. Now, was New Love done BC before COVID or DC during COVID?
What happened was Ellie had written this song, and we had these chords from another song that we had been working on for Silk City from before. And I think we got the Ellie song to work on to maybe do a remix, and heard and just tried the a cappella over these other chords that we came up with these guys, the Picard brothers, who we love, these French producers I met through Diplo. And then we're like, okay, this is great. Instead of making this an Ellie remix, why don't we make this into a new song? And so Ellie had already written the song, and, you know, and it's crazy also to know, I don't know if she knew she was pregnant at the time, but she's singing I've Got New Love in Me for like, you know, like 100 times over the course of the song. And then we didn't even know she was pregnant till like way after the video. So that was a nice little, like, you know, nice touch. But no, she had the song, and then we kind of came with the music and the track.
Now, with you producing music for so long, and now how everybody has had to kind of change the way they're doing stuff with lockdowns and quarantines, have you found it more difficult?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely sent stuff back and forth, and there were a couple times where me and Diplo went in the studio together, I was like, find the biggest possible studio so we can stand 18 feet apart. Like, no disrespect to Diplo's touring schedule. I was just like, let's just be really careful. And we managed to finish it there. And then a lot of it was sending it back and forth. I love being in the room with people. I feed off that energy. I love when me and him are together and I'm playing some piano and he's chopping some stuff up in the laptop. But, you know, that'll come back eventually. And for now, we're just figuring out how to do it over the internet.
Well, Mark Ronson, you've been producing with all the biggest pop stars. Diplo has like 800 different projects. What makes you guys come together and go, you know what, we've got some time. We're not doing anything. Let's create Silk City.
I think that we had just been talking about working together for so long. And like I said, we have the history. And over the past 6-7 years, he would occasionally send me like a little idea, like, let's do this. And then when I moved to Los Angeles for a couple of years, that's when we were really like, okay, I live down the street from you. There's no excuse anymore. So we went in the studio for 2 to 3 days and really that's when we wrote Electricity and all this great stuff came out. And because I have a lot of fun. I love making music with people I get to work with, the greatest people, but it's not always fun. It's work. It's, it's emotions, it's tension. With Diplo, like, it's just kind of goofing. So I enjoy it for that.
And it's ironic that you mentioned that because I read an interview that you did from a few years ago where you were talking about how you kind of felt like you were getting burnt out just because of how much goes into it. Has that changed over time?
Well, I'm just sort of like this room I'm in right here on this interview. Like, this is my studio, which crazily is a studio that I used to have in New York 15 years ago, and where I met Amy Winehouse and we did all the demos for Back to Black. And I haven't lived in New York for 15 years, so I'm kind of back here. And so I'm just like day 2 of trying to find inspiration again and getting into it. So it comes in waves, sometimes you get burnt out and then sometimes you just kind of wait and you tinker and then suddenly you get smacked in the head with some ideas and start rolling.
Believe me, I feel you. I completely feel you. Congratulations on another number 1 with Diplo, Ellie Goulding, New Love. I need you to do me a favor. Next time you're recording with Ellie Goulding, if she can record some driving directions for me, because if I could marry her voice, I would. Yeah. She is just that amazing.
I know she does. And her voice, even like as a vocalist too, I've known her for 12 years. We've never made music together until now, but her voice is incredible. And just like, it has this thing that just cuts through. And you're right. She has like a very, very wonderful speaking voice.
Well, what's next in the pipe works for Mark Ronson?
I have just finished producing a record for this artist named Yeba, who's absolutely fantastic. She has one of the greatest voices, honestly, I've ever recorded. So she's on RCA. That's coming soon. And then I'm just, hopefully more Silk City, just getting into my own music and, working.
Is it hard keeping track of everything just because of how much you have going on?
COVID, like lockdown, definitely slowed things down a lot. Cause like I said, I really enjoy being in the room with people. I feed off that energy. So I definitely wasn't just churning it out. But no, I've got it. I used to be like crazy, like a chicken with my head cut off and running around. And now I realize to make really good stuff, I got to kind of, just rein it in a little bit.
Mark Ronson, thank you so much for being with us on America's Dance 30. It was an honor meeting you finally.
Thanks so much. And thank you for all the support. And thank you for having me.